In the previous lesson, we saw how we can work with vector graphics and 3D graphics in Photoshop. In this video, we're gonna explore a little bit more about layout design. And so we're gonna use vectors, but also images, try to create the interface for a website. Now you can do this also with a smartphone or with a tablet, so you can study like the aspect and the look and feel and everything that concerns the aesthetics of a website or a app. So if I go here to new file, just to show you, if we go in the web, we find all templates here that you can use to get inspiration, again, for a website or for something concerning layout in terms of digital world. So let's say I want on this one here, I can download. So when it's ready, I can use it to study a little bit how this was made. So you can always use these templates if you don't want to start from zero. You also have here for mobile, and there are also other software who can do this. So if you want like more complex design of the layout, create books or brochure, you probably want to use InDesign, and you can find the course in the channel. Also, you can use Figma, which is again for prototyping and defining the aesthetic aspect of an app and or a website. And you can create links and try to study the navigation, so all the different pages, create different arbors, and so on. Now, if you want, you can also search for other Photoshop website templates or whatever template you want to use. You can search and you will find a lot of them on the web that you can use, sometimes for free, sometimes for sale. But this can help you to get started and to understand how a layout can be done for, again, a website or an app and so on. Now, in a previous lesson, lesson 6, we defined a series of artboards which could be used as different pages for a website or a mobile phone or logo or a tablet. So let's say we want to use here this on-page artboard right here. So what I can do, let me just zoom in a little bit. So we're going to work a little bit on this. And I can see here I have an interface. So workspace is graphic and web, so that I can access all these tools that can be used for the web or other, graphics, similar graphics. Now you have the artboard tool, but I'm not going to show you this because we already talked about this. I'm going to show you more about the some of the vector graphics tools, and we already talked about selection. We don't really need to go over that more, but I want to show you here in the crop tool. You can see you have the slice tool. Now, if you don't find any other tool, you can always find it by clicking on these three dots and searching. So another one that can be useful here is the frame tool, which we're going to use later. Now, just to show you the basics here. So if you want to create the interface of a website, so you need to do user interface, user experience. You need to divide the page into different parts, and then you can export these as HTML or you can export as CSS, which are languages used in the development of websites. So when you do the slice tool, you start to define your page with different parts. So for example, this top part here could be what is called a banner, so a top part. So if I click and drag, thanks to the snapping tool, I can create the first section. So you can see this is section number 1, and then you have the others. So you should like slice every single part of your interface. So if you have like a content part in the middle, you see if you click and drag and create a rectangle in the middle, the rest of the page will be subdivided into other images. So when you're ready, you want to export, you can export the HTML page with all the single parts. Now I want to show you from the beginning here. So I'm going to create a new file again and go to web. I'm going to use web large. 72 pixel per inch will be fine, and then create. So I want to use some vector graphics now. So first I want to do is just go down here and go with the next tool, which will be the gradient. So we already talked about gradient. You can use gradients to fill the background in this case. So if you click and drag, it's going to create a gradient, and then you can adjust it. You can adjust the gradient from here using these little points, or you can adjust it from the right side here. And this could become like a radial gradient, whatever you want to do uh, for your layout, you can try here. And then you have like different presets. So I'm gonna go for the blue here, something really simple. And usually right now in this moment, gradients are not really used. We have like really flat design, but let's try to apply here really mild gradient. And then you have all these other settings here. A gradient could be also transparent, so it could go from opaque to transparent. So if you change the opacity here, if I have something there on the background, it's going to be visible because that's going to be transparent. So you can also adjust the transparency. So you can also change it from here. And we already talked a little bit about gradients, so let's move forward. Let's go for text. So let's say I want to create the title of my website. Now, what I would do here is probably go up there in the corner and drag all the other way here, and it's going to be then filled with words. So I'm just going to press the backspace to delete, and I want to type like title of my website. There you go. Now you can see I'm using a specific font and a specific color. So these are two really important things when you create a website: the colors and the fonts. So try to find nice colors, nice font, and then you need to like use those all over the website or the application that you're creating. So use swatches, and here right now I'm using this font right here, which I downloaded and installed it. I want to make it a little bit bigger so that is clearly visible here. And then I want to move it with the move tool. I can also use the arrows on my keyboard to move it slowly and slightly. So after you decided the format and the proportions, the size, you should find a nice font. Now I've used this one here from the dafont.com, and here you can download different types. So depending on the look and feel you want to give to your website, you may choose another type of font. And we already talked about that previously. So let's say I want to download this. So you click on download, you save it in the, well, whatever you want. I'm gonna save it in the download folder. And then let's open it up from here. And you need to extract this to get inside the folder. And you see this is the font. So to install it, you either copy this, right click and copy it inside your Windows fonts folder right here. So these are all the fonts that I have that I can use in any application, including Photoshop, or just double click. So right here, I can just double click on this and say up here install and just wait. Okay, so this is called Neon LED. So to get this, I need to go inside the fonts. I'm gonna show you just shortly, but also you can download free pattern in the same way. And I want to suggest WordPress if you want to do web design and create websites, because WordPress is really easy to use, really fast, and everything is kind of automated and automatic, so you don't really need to write any code or anything, but you can use the graphics that you built in Photoshop. So let's go back here. I'm gonna underline the title, and I can look for the N and look for the neon LED regular. There it is. And so I have kind of a title here with a specific font. Now you can use like fonts, different font from titles to paragraphs and things that should be more readable. So try not to use too many different fonts. Try to use like a couple, no more than that. Also, colors on the website shouldn't be too many. So you design like 3 or 4 colors and then repeat them. But you will find like again examples if you look into the templates. Now we already talked about the text and how we can align it, or we can force like italic and other styles from character and paragraph, which you will find here on the right side. You also have like lips if you want to use them, and they are available inside the font. And let's go down here, properties again, color. You can change the spacing between the, oh, that's too much, between letters. And then you can apply, of course, layer styles. We already talked about that, to simulate 3D and to, like, I don't know, have an outer glow, like a neon example. And then you can, of course, use all these others, which we already know. So let's move forward. And don't exaggerate actually with the styles, because right now, again, the trend is to use like flat design, so you don't want like strong effects all over your website. So let's proceed, and if you go down here, let's use like the curvature pen. So I want to create like a footer. So you have a header. We should add a footer now, and I'm gonna use this tool to create. I want a curvy footer effect. So let me just go back, restart. Maybe I want this to be lower like this. Okay, so now uh, what we're doing here is creating a shape. So we can create a path or we can create a shape, and we can use a stroke and we can use a fill. I want both of them. So I want to create like a cable, and so I want to use another color, and then I want to use a fill because this is not using a fill right now. So let's make this like white. Now, since this is not completed, I cannot see the rest of the shape. But before we complete the rest of the shape, I want to show you something here which we didn't saw before. So I want to switch from the path selection to the direct selection and click on this little end of the line. And you can see it's kind of cut straight. Now, if I go in the shape, so want to go back to path selection and select that again. And if it doesn't show on the right, you can see here. So if I go here, you can make this dashed. You can make this with little points. And also you can change here the alignment, interior, exterior, or at the middle of the path. And then you can change the caps. So you can see this is rounded cap, straight cut, like this. Or you can go like all around the point. Now let's say that I want to continue this shape and close it up. Now to do this, I need to go back to some of the drawing vector graphics tool here, like the pen tool, for example. So it doesn't matter if I like expand here, because the only visible part will be then taken into consideration. Now, if I click here, you see it's going to create a new line. So let me go back and just click there. So it's going to continue then with the previous shape. And so you can see now I close the shape by clicking here, and I don't like that part, so I'm gonna fix it again with the direct selection tool. I want to bring this up here, and I want to delete that or convert it to a curve. Let's just delete it, So we have a nice ending curve in there. And there you go. So I have a nice footer right now. And of course, I can use the other vector graphics tool like the shapes. So I have a rectangle, circle, custom shape. I don't have the other shapes here, but I would find it probably by clicking on the three dots, like the polygon triangle tool and the others, the line tool. So here I would just want to use a rectangle. I want to use a rectangle and create like the middle part. And be careful because right now I'm creating from the center. So I can click in the center here. So if you click and drag, it's going to create your shape like this by clicking and dragging. Or you can also just click once and it's going to create it right away from the center. And I want to deactivate the radius right now because I want to talk about this in just a minute. I want to do a nice square, sorry, a nice rectangle. And I can use this for the banner. So I can place these like up there and create a banner with this for the menu, for the navigation menu. And let me show you if I make this a little bit closer like this, and I go to select here with the shape tool, you can see I can click and drag this and make this rounded. And I can do with all the corners, or I can choose only which corner. And you can also do it from there before you actually create the shape. Now, another thing I can do here is to change the corners and make it rounded. Now, in this case, only the small part, like the ending part here of the corner, will be modified. So let me select the parts again, like this. So I select it, and you can see this is rounded now. So I can make it cut like this, or I can make it perfectly cornered. Other thing I can do is go back to the shape, and so when I'm in the shape mode, I can create more shapes, or I can select this one here like this, and in the properties here I can access the roundness of the corner. So right now I am only rounding this part right here, and perhaps I want to round this other corner, so I click and drag like this. Or you can do with each single one of them. So if I constrain the others, if I type something, it's going to be applied also to the others. So let's type like 0 here, like this, and then you can again link everything so that if I change one, it's going to affect also the others, so they are all the same way. So depending on your idea, you can, adjust this however you want. Now, this is like also translated into some sort of CSS style, or you can, if you want, you can export this. So if you go in the bottom here to the layers and you right click, you can copy the CSS and use it for CSS language writing, or you can export this as a PNG element, as we already saw previously. So let's call this like banner and save it. So for each of these different parts of your layout, you can do a layer. So if I want to like export this, right click, export, quick export as a PNG, and I can use it in another application. So anything you create basically can be exported separately, or try to copy the CSS and paste it. So let me just export also this, and there you go. So you have the title here. Let's make a really big icon so you can see better. So you can see that I can quickly export this without the background to be used wherever you want. And let me just show you again. I want to make this like smaller. I think it's too big. and then I want to place the navigation in there. So I can place simple text, or I can place like other small buttons. So again, click here, rectangle, and let's make some small buttons. So I'm going to do like 200 pixels width and 50 the height. And then here, let's make like 10 the roundness. And there you go. It's kind of a small old school button that I can place like in there. And then if I need to duplicate this, I can just hold the Alt key and move it like this. And also you can work with alignment. So if I select this, just like we did with selection, I can align them, well, horizontally, and then I can distribute them horizontally like this, so they are like evenly spaced. And I can also like expand them a little bit. So let's do that, and then you know, create here a distribution, or you can use also the others again, as we did with when we work with selection. And I can place some text inside, but you know, this is just to show you, so I don't want to do that. And also if I apply some other layer style here, so for example, I can insert a gradient also inside here, inside the graphics. So let me see something uh, similar that I can use here. I don't know, it's just, you know, just let's leave this just to as an example. So you can use in here, or you can use like dropped shadow again, or you can use outer glow or a stroke or whatever, or bevel and emboss. So you create like the button for your navigation. And whatever style you create, if you want to like copy the style into other elements, you can right click and go here and search for the where it is, copy layer style. And then you can go here and right click and paste layer style. And you can do it also with multiple. If you hold the shift key to select multiple objects, right click and paste layer style. So you can paste it, you know, anywhere. And so we created kind of a menu here with some buttons, really big, really simple, just to explain everything. Now, for the rest of the text, I wouldn't use this neon because it's kind of not really readable. So I would go like with something simple like Arial, like small, like let's make it like 30 points, and then like create a footer down there. There you go, and you can align to the rest of the interface so that there's a footer, and it's supposed to be higher so that it is going to be readable like that. And then I can add perhaps a content here in the middle with the other panels, so I can create other panels, just, you know, type there in the middle. And then I can get some layer style from other um, shapes. So right click, and again, let's paste the layer style here. And we need to make this visible, otherwise, there you go, it will not be visible. And so this could be my like central content, and then I can add here like some panel on the left, panel on the right. Now, if you want to use like extra shapes, again, we can go here and let's see like the polygon. So polygon tool can become something really strange here because I've changed the parameters. So I'm using you can change the side. So you can have like 3 sides for the polygon, or like 14. And here I'm also using the star. So you can turn uh, the polygon into a star if you apply these values. So let's make like 100% will be a perfect polygon. Also, let's apply a fill so we can see it. And then you can change the number of side like this, and you can make it also like a star. So if I change the percentage here to 2, it's gonna be like a really tiny star, or I can increase this, and I can round the corners of the star, and I can also smooth the star indents inside. So you have all these different like shapes that you can generate using just the polygon tool. Like this looks like an engine. And then of course I can increase the stroke if I want to use the stroke, change color for the stroke. Let's change the fill. You can also change the fill for a shape right here. So you can use a gradient again, or you can use a pattern. And of course you can use layer style here as well if you want to make this, you know, different. So you can rotate this, make something customized. I can also create like more customization by working with booleans or like subtraction, things like that. So if let's say I want to work with, I'm gonna use this. Let's use this, and I'm gonna create a new shape. So let me go here in custom shape and select like an animal here. Like let's go for a lion. So when I select the type of operation, I can subtract, I can combine. So let's like subtract. So when I click and drag, that's gonna go like into negative space. So it's gonna cut through, and then perhaps I can move it like here on the borders. I can cut through the borders like this. So it's, you can create, you know, really customized shape by adding, subtracting, and so on. So this is an example of subtraction, and I want to rotate that. So anytime you also, if you want, with the selection here, let's do like path selection. So I can select that path, and I can change that. I can make it like intersect, or I can make it exclude overlapping areas, or I can make it combine together like this. So only the legs will appear. And of course, you can use also others in there, other shapes you can add, continue to subtract, and whatever. Now, if I want, I can create also the frame. Frame is good when I want to place like an image. So let's say I want to place an image right here. I will probably like create a frame right here. And then perhaps I want to add more text in this other part. So create some content, some textual content right there. And maybe it needs to be more readable here. So this color for the font is not really visible. Maybe I want to like make this a little bit darker, or perhaps use a previous color like this, and maybe it needs to be a little bit darker. And then I can use another alignment, or if I want justification, so I can like fill the space a little bit better. So you can also use the shapes here and convert them into frames. So if I select these rectangles on the side, and also like give names here, so you can find them a little bit better. So let's call this left panel or wherever, and could be another navigation tool as well, or like advertising or wherever. So I can select it, and I can right click and convert this into a frame. So it's going to become a frame that I can use. Now also frames, they have stroke, and they have you know, things that are similar to the other vector graphics. So, and also this one here, right click, convert to frame. Another interesting thing is that you convert a text into a frame. So right click and do convert to frame, and then you can bring inside there any image. Now you see this is another experiment I did with another site, and I just dropped in an image here of water, and here I just dropped another image, and here. So when you have the framing, they can work as placeholders, and you can just uh, then bring and change anytime. You can right click and edit the content, so you can get into the image, can change the content. You can also um, change it in terms of relink the file or replace totally with another image. We already saw this before, so you know we are not gonna see it again. Just to show you quickly that it's really useful to use framing as placeholders. So I don't know why they're not in the toolbar here for web design. Now to finish this, I already created some slides. So again, I went here and I sliced all these different parts like buttons and panels and everything. And then you go to File, Export, and go to Save for Web. And here you can just select the whole elements. You're just gonna zoom out with Alt and scroll wheel, select everything with the selection here. Okay, when you select everything, you set up a preset. I go for JPEG low to export everything with the low quality, and then you just go save. Choose the folder where you want to export. In my case, I created one folder specifically called UI for web. And you can see I've already exported the HTML file and the images. So you go here, change the name if you want. The format, if you want to export HTML, will be HTML and images. Settings, default settings, slices, all slices. And then you save. And I'm just going to show you the result. So I'm going to go in the folder, and you see here we have HTML page, images with all the slices. So if I want to publish this on the web, I can do it because this is HTML. Now it's not interactive. It needs a lot more things that you need to do with like Dreamweaver or other software that can help you to create the website. But this is kind of the basics, and this is only the aesthetical and graphic point of view. So it needs to be developed with the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and wherever. So this will be all for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please subscribe to the channel. If you want to support us, join the channel. Check our other courses and guides. See you in the next.